at the end of the day, kids grow up. So you sacrifice everything, you lose you, and then the kids turn 18, they're out your house, then what are you left with? So at the end of the day, you have to pick and choose what those sacrifices look like. So for me, yeah, I make sacrifices, but at the same time, I include my husband and my children along with my business ventures. So we make it a family thing. So it's not, I gotta go off for, a couple of days and I don't see my children. Now my children are coming with me because they're involved in this business too, because hopefully I want them to pick up, and I can hand this baton off to them, they can keep it moving. But it's such a misconception that you can't do everything it is that you want to do because something is gonna lack. That's not true. It's not. It's all about how you prioritize things, how you schedule things. You might have to wake up a little earlier in the morning to accomplish the things you need to accomplish for yourself and be present for your husband, your children, and to run your business. But sacrificing doesn't mean that something has to fall short or you can't take care of you. Entrepreneurship looks glamorous. It is what it is. You're working for yourself. You see people traveling. You see them having all these extravagant things, and they're like, it's all because I work for myself. But no one talks about the grunt work that goes on behind the scenes that people just don't see. And they don't talk about the slow seasons that roll around when money is not coming in the same way. What do? You can't give up. It's never perfection. Every single day you have something that rolls out and it's like, how am I gonna overcome this?
Hey, wait. I know you want to watch this next video, but listen, if you are an entrepreneur, business coach, business consultant, or a small business owner who has a story and wants to learn how to create multiple streams of income from your story, I need you to text me right now, my book, to 646-687-4152. That is my personal number. I have been an author for over 12 years. I've written 10 books. 4 of them have been bestsellers, and I've sold over 100,000 books. But I've also helped a lot of my clients take their expertise and put it into a story, then create multiple streams of income from that. So I want to help you do the same thing. So text my book to 646-687-4152. All right, let's go back to the video.
Pay attention and listen, we about to teach class. Inside the vault, my man Ash Cash. So get your man right. Thursday nights, 8 p.m. You see him to change your life. Millionaire mindset, the best on earth. Blueprint, the wealth, the knowledge network. So get it while you can, and he's standing right here. Just come inside the vault and see black millionaires. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Come inside the vault and see black millionaires. Oh yeah, oh yeah. You won't ask cash, you can catch it right here in the vault.
All right, so welcome to another awesome episode of Inside the Vault with Ash Cash, the greatest money mindset show on the planet. When I tell you we keep bringing you power after power after power, we have somebody who is so powerful, a wife, a mother, a boss, serial entrepreneur, somebody who could teach you how to get to the bag, but how to change lives while you're getting to the bag, Miss Halani Lobdell, a.k.a. Mrs. 2 Weeks Out.
What is up?
How you doing? How you
I'm
feeling?
good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for being our guest. Before we start though, because I want to know, I want to talk about balance. I want to talk about how do you do everything that you do and still maintain the balance and still love life and still live. But before we get there, in your words, who is Halani Lobdell?
So, it took me a minute to really figure out who I am.
Yes.
Because I started out on a certain path
Yeah.
and ended up where I am now.
Yeah.
So, I'm a CEO. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I'm a boss, literally.
Yeah.
And I evolved into that. Literally started, fire department.
Yeah.
Thought I was going to do 30 years and retire from that. And now I'm on a whole nother path. Just paving a way that I didn't think was even possible for me. And so, I'm a dreamer now.
Yes.
Didn't do that before.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm just setting a bar for other women to understand you can have a family.
Yeah.
You can have a successful marriage.
Yeah.
You can have a successful business or businesses. You can just be all of that.
Yeah.
Handle it all.
I love that. And so I want to talk about that for a second because I think that there is this misconception. This is why you have so much power, right? Because there is this misconception that being a mother comes with having to sacrifice yourself. Being a wife comes with sacrifices. Having to run a business, sacrifice. Like literally, there are people out there, and I'm not saying it's easy, right? So we're gonna talk about, like, I want you to kind of give the real, but there are literally people out there who are like, man, I wanna run a business, but I wanna leave my job, but I wanna be there for my kids, but I wanna have a great relationship with my partner, but just knowing you and seeing everything that's happening, like it looks like there's a balance, and like you're killing it on all levels. So like, talk about that, or for those out there, or women out there specifically, who are sacrificing, who don't have the abundance mindset, right? So abundance is your birthright. Which means and is better than or. So talk to that person, like, what was that journey like, getting to that space of balance, being able to enjoy abundance and having it all?
Yeah, so you said a lot, and I hate the misconception that we have to make sacrifices and can't do what we need to do for ourselves. So everything comes with sacrifices, being a wife, being a mother, being a business owner, but at the end of the day, kids grow up. So you sacrifice everything, you lose you, and then the kids turn 18, they're out your house, then what are you left with? So at the end of the day, you have to pick and choose what those sacrifices look like. So for me, yeah, I make sacrifices, but at the same time, I include my husband and my children along with my business ventures. So we make it a family thing. So it's not, I gotta go off for a couple of days and I don't see my children. Now my children are coming with me because they're involved in this business too, because hopefully I want them to pick up, and I can hand this baton off to them, they can keep it moving. But it's such a misconception that you can't do everything it is that you want to do because something is gonna lack. That's not true. It's not. It's all about how you prioritize things, how you schedule things. You might have to wake up a little earlier in the morning to accomplish the things you need to accomplish for yourself and be present for your husband, your children, and to run your business. But it doesn't sacrifice and doesn't mean that something has to fall short or you can't take care of you. Every Wednesday, that's my day. Kids are off at school, it's Halani's time.
Yes.
I'm gonna go get my hair done, I'm gonna get a massage, I'm gonna go to the chiropractor, everything for me. Because if you leave a void for yourself, you have nothing left to give to anybody else. So, you definitely have to figure out how to balance it all. It can be a lot, but it's possible. It's definitely possible. And with the dynamite support system, I preach that all the time, having some sort of support system. It doesn't have to be a lot of people. It could be one person that you can lean on to say, hey, I need some time for me. Or, hey, I need some time away from my husband. Whatever the situation looks like, but just one. People think you need a whole cluster of people in order to make things work. You do not. What you need is to prioritize, see exactly where things fall, and carve out the time. Wake up earlier might mean you got to go to bed a little bit later. But at the end of the day, you can have everything that you need to have to be fulfilled personally and be that person for everyone else too.
No, I love that. And you said something that was really important. You said you have to carve out that time for you in order to be able to give to the others, right? And so, talk a little bit about that more a little bit, right? Because it's like you can't pour from an empty cup. And what I'm noticing is a lot of times people are, giving without taking care of themselves. So now they're not even giving their best self. They're giving a version of themselves that's not their best self, and then get frustrated and then give everything up, opposed to making sure they have that self-care in order for them to be able to take care of others. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so who's charging you up at the end of the day? You give, and then you're left totally drained. So you have to have that time. So for me, that's my morning routine. That's why I preach a morning routine is so important. So I'm gonna get up every morning and do the things I need. I'm gonna pray. I'm gonna read. I'm gonna, just do the little things for me that are charging Halani up. So when the kids come home from school and it's like they need help with homework or they need to be taken to their activities or I have to perform my wifely duties, I have the energy that's necessary to do it because I charge myself up first every single day. So it's essential, and that's why a morning routine is so important. So I'm gonna wake up before they wake up. I'm gonna have that hour for me so that when I have to give, I got everything I need to do so. It's important.
Yeah, I love it. And so talk a little bit about, having a 9-to-5 and running a business, because you did something extraordinary, right? Like you were, had a 9-to-5 and then ran a business Like not a 5-figure business, not a 6-figure business. You made 7 figures. 7, like a whole 7 with a job.
With a whole job.
With a whole job.
But wait, we ain't gonna even say my job was 9 to 5, because I worked 24-hour shifts.
Respectfully.
Okay?
Yeah.
I worked between 48 and 53 hours a week.
Sheesh.
So I'm not gonna say it was easy because it wasn't. And the nature of my job required me to be a quick thinker.
Yeah.
It was lives at stake with the type of career that I had. Yeah. So, but at the end of the day, I live behind the premise, I'm just gonna get it done. You know, there's no excuse. There are no buts. This is what needs to be done to make my dreams fulfilled. Yeah. So literally, I will go to work my 24-hour shifts. I will come home and I will work Body Envy. And whether it looked like it was printing out labels, making, heat pressing my items as they came in, shipping them out, whatever that looked like for the day, I wouldn't even shower. I wouldn't even have my, I would come home, go straight to my office in the house and get to work for Body Envy. Once that was done, then I could take a shower and somewhat relax. But I understood it's a time to grind. Yeah. There's a grind period, and that's the period that I was in, was that grind period. Not knowing that grind was gonna produce that 7 figures. I had no idea. Because let me tell you something, Ash, when I started Body Envy and working my 24-hour shifts, and I was a battalion chief, so I'm running an entire region of DeKalb County. Wow. Body Envy was my little side business. That's what I called it. It literally was just like a hobby, not realizing that hobby was gonna do what it did and retire me 11 years early. So, but I was in grind mode. There was no excuses. I didn't even know what tired was. I was acting like a robot. It had to be done. Yeah. I didn't have a team at that point. It was really just me, Jason, and my kids. And we were gonna make it work. Yeah. And that's what we did. No excuses. We going balls to the wall right now.
And so where does that mindset come from though? Because that, like, it takes a certain mind in order to, like, to get to that point. So where does that come from for you?
For me, that came from the fire department because it's so structured. It's a paramilitary environment. Yeah. So just having to report to work at a certain time, handling emergency situations, it created the mindset that there's always people out here doing worse than you. There's really people out here struggling. Yeah. We have certain gifts and we take them for granted. Yeah. So listen, why not? Yeah. Why not? Now's the time. So that's where the mindset came from. And even, people who have a 9 to 5 or have a career, utilize what you're being taught there to implement that into your personal business. You have training and all. They're giving it to you. Take that training and implement it to form your business. That's what I did. So that discipline came from that. And then eventually I had to develop the entrepreneurial mindset, because that's totally different.
Right, yeah.
That's totally different. But the initial start of the mindset came from the discipline I had to have from 18 years working in a paramilitary environment. Yeah,
and talk about that mindset for a second, right? Because I think that because on the internet, there's a lot of people that make entrepreneurship look easy, or a lot of times people are only looking at the parts of entrepreneurship that they want to see. But talk a little bit about that, like that difference between having a 9 to 5 mindset or having a job mindset, and then now that entrepreneurship mindset. Like, what does that shift look like?
Yeah, so I'm actually dealing with something right now with being an entrepreneur. So entrepreneurship looks glamorous. It is what it is. You're working for yourself. You see people traveling. You see them having all these extravagant things, and they're like, it's all because I work for myself. Yeah. But no one talks about the grunt work that goes on behind the scenes that people just don't see. And they don't talk about the slow seasons that roll around when money is not coming in the same way. What do? You can't give up. It's never perfection. Every single day you have something that rolls out, and it's like, how am I going to overcome this? Versus when you work for somebody else, it's kind of one of those things where they're kind of prepared for it. You have someone else that you could possibly lean on and say, hey, the computer shut down, now what? Yeah. When you're working for yourself, you got to figure that mess out for yourself, and you have to have, a very, very strong mental, because at the end of the day, sometimes that means you getting down to what looks like your last. But you can't give up and say, well, I'm gonna let my business go asunder because, money's not coming in the same way, or this person quit. What do? You have to figure out a way to keep things moving. Yeah. And so that's the difference. That's where the entrepreneurial mindset comes in, is that there's no alternative. It has to work or it has to work, period. That's Neo, Right. And I really embody that. There is no plan B. Yeah. This is what it is. It has to work. Do what needs to be done so that it works and is successful. And that means that you have to be creative. Yeah. That means that you might have to, you pop something out of thin air and make it, you just gotta be able to think on your toes. Yeah. And entrepreneurship, that's what it is. People don't understand it. They don't see that. They just see the glamour that's on social media. Yeah. Man, it's a lot that's involved, and it's all on you. Yeah. You know, at the end of the day, it's your business.
Hey, how you guys doing? Hold on, don't press that button, because that's what I do every time I'm looking at an ad that I don't want to see. This ad just happened to be life-changing. I just happen to own one of the biggest home healthcare companies in the state of Georgia. I can help you create your own. Just to give you a little bit of insight, I send out registered nurses, LPNs, and CNAs to take care of people inside of the homes that cannot take care of themselves. But guess what? You don't have to have any medical background, and you don't have to have any medical knowledge. So if you're wanting to change your life and you have a passion for actually taking care of people, then go ahead and sign up for Home Healthcare Blueprint. I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, no, I love it. And then so let's shift gears a little bit and talk about marriage, because man, the narrative, and that's why I love you and Jason's relationship, because Black love matters, right?
Absolutely.
But there's this narrative around, man, this is strong Black women, can't find somebody, or, strong Black men, are intimidated by, this whole narrative around Black love not existing. And I watch y'all have fun together, y'all big kids. Y'all big kids, and I love it, right? But Jason's an alpha, right? He's a man, right? He's an alpha. How do you deal with that? Like, how do you but like watching you also strong as well. How do you deal with somebody who's as powerful as Jason is, and you still have your power, but like, is that feminine male energy? Like, cause sometimes, women have masculine energy as well. And so how do you deal with that?
That's always been a struggle for me. Because like you say, he's alpha, me too.
Yes. Yeah.
So literally, I remember I came home from work one day, he was like, listen, that blue shirt you got on at work, that comes off when you get in the garage. You don't run nothing around here. So literally, sometimes we would be like this because we're both so alpha, and that's always been a struggle. And I remember one time he told me, he was like, you act like a dude. And when I heard him say that, I was like, I don't want to act like no dude, At the end of the day, because I can appreciate a man being a man and actually handling responsibilities as a man. So, I'm in work in progress when it comes to that, honestly. But
I appreciate that.
I am, for real. And if I sat up here and lie, he probably would speak up and be like, she's lying. She's lying. Right. But I have to be really intentional with how I respond to him, how I conduct myself around him, because I do have that harder personality where I'm like, you're not going to tell me what to do. Yeah. Although I know the things that he says are within my best interest, but sometimes it's just like, no, right. I don't want to hear what you got to say. Yeah. So I have to be real intentional with just listening to him and understanding where he's coming from and just being quiet. Yeah. Let me hear what you're saying. Let me shut up for a minute. Let me take it in, and then maybe I'll respond. Yeah. I've gotten better. We're going on 20 years, Ash, okay? January, we're 20 years married. So, and I'm still working on that. Yeah. And that's probably one of our toughest challenges within our marriage is me being quiet and letting him just totally take the lead with things. Yeah, yeah.
And how do you deal with both of y'all being high profile though, right? So it's one thing if, you're a battalion chief and, he work at Walmart, right. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, cool. Yeah. The whole alpha thing is cool, right? But like, you're very high profile, he's very high profile. How do you maneuver that, as a couple?
We embrace it, to be honest with you. Okay. We understand that there's power in that, and we understand that it definitely directly impacts our brands. And so we move as a unit though. Yeah. So there's never anything that's put out publicly that we don't know about, and so we use it for what it is. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it doesn't define who we are as people. Yeah. So we're still very humble. We still make sure that we reach back. We still are in contact with the people we've always been in contact with, that sort of thing. But when it comes to being high profile, we embrace it. It is what it is. We work hard to get to this level, and so we use it for what we use it for, and that's for elevation of our brands, and pretty much nothing more than that, and it's kind of embarrassing when you're out and people are like, Mr. 2 weeks out, and I'm like, right. it's Halani and it's just me, you don't have to do all that, so sometimes it can be a little overwhelming to even know your kids' names, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this world of social media, it's crazy, but at the end of the day, I understand that celebrities, so to speak, has driven us to where we are now, where we're able to reach people that we can't reach just in the city of Atlanta. And so we're thankful for it, and we use it for what we need to use it for.
Yeah. And how it, like, what's the key to being a serial entrepreneur? Because when you think about, it's not just the one business, it's multiple businesses. And what is the strategy, or what is the key to being successful as a serial entrepreneur?
So this is something that I watched him do, because of course he started as an entrepreneur, and I was sitting back like, I don't want any parts of that. That's not my world. I don't want to be a part. I want to know what my checks are going to be every other week, So what I find now is that don't put your hands in too many things at one time. Systems are so important. So once you get something rolling, it's scaling, not growing, it's scaling, because we know there's a difference between the two.
Yeah, please explain that difference for those who may not know the difference between growing and scaling.
Yeah, so growth is when you're making more money and your expenses are staying the same. Scaling is your expenses stay the same. I'm sorry, your expenses are decreasing and you're making more money. So that gap, you're seeing that shift. Absolutely. You're going here versus here. So what I've realized is that you have to kind of master one before you move on to the next. And you can have multiple businesses that feed into each other, but at the same time, if you start one, you don't have the proper systems in place, you're still needed to be a part of the everyday operations, and then you bring in all these other ones, something is gonna fall short. So get it systematized. Systems are so important within a business. Get your personnel together, get your executive team together, so that things are moving whether you're present or not. Then you can bring in something else. But, jack of all trades but master of none. Everybody wants to say, I have all these businesses, but all those businesses thriving. Right. So master one.
You have multiple streams or multiple ponds.
Exactly. Big difference. So get one to where it's scaling. Then you can work on something else. But all the simultaneous stuff and you got one that's doing well and all these over here are lacking, what's the purpose?
Right.
So yeah,
no, I love that. And just to recap, it's like really focusing on that one thing, make the main thing the main thing. Once you get the main thing to a level that you want it, you document the process, right? Because as you document the process, now you can get someone else to kind of do those things, and then now you can kind of shift the attention somewhere else.
And I'm so happy you said that, because that's something that we don't do, particularly in our community. Because we always feel like we're going to be around. And then you see those businesses where they start, someone passes away, and then the business dies because they did not document the process. And when you say document the process, I mean to the finest detail. That way they have the actual blueprint, so that if you want to pass it on, or if God forbid you get sick and you just can't keep going, but your business can keep on doing what it's doing because you've documented everything. That's so important. No,
I love that. And so right now, there's that person who has the 9 to 5. They want to become an entrepreneur. They almost like double dutching. They got one foot in, one foot out. What advice would you give to them?
Do it. Do it. I think I waited too long to do it. And I shouldn't say that. You have to do things in your own time. But don't think that you have time. Time is that little precious facet of life that once it's gone, it's gone. It's it. So, don't procrastinate. If you have a vision, go for it. Understand that it's not going to come easy. Everything is not glitz and glamour, but go for it. If you don't try, you're never going to know. So don't sit back thinking that time is always going to be on your side, because it's not. Go for it. And take the mistakes that you make and learn from them. We're all going to make them. Take mistakes, learn from it, and just keep building. But you got to actually put your foot out there and get going to know, is this for me? It might not be, but at least you can say you tried.
And you mentioned mistakes, right? A lot of people are afraid to make mistakes or afraid to fail. What does failure mean to you?
Failure is just my way of correcting things that. There's no failure, put it that way. Failure it's not a negative term. All it is a way for me to have to go back to the drawing board, punt that ball again. That's all it is. It's lessons that you're learning, but it doesn't have to be fatal. So you pick up where you need to pick up, make the adjustments, and keep moving. But a lot of times people use failure as a crippling. It doesn't have to be. It's a lesson to keep winning. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
It's not a detrimental piece
Yeah.
if you fail. Failure is just looked at as such a negative connotation, and it really isn't.
Right.
You know, nothing's perfect.
Right.
There's always going to be something that's going to take place. It's a challenge.
Yep.
Once you overcome it, you just put those little things in that toolbox, and then when things happen, it's like, oh, I know what to do.
Yeah.
You know, I know how to handle this, know how to fix it.
Yeah.
It's not negative.
Yeah. And then so what would you say to that person, right? Like, you know, that has, you know, they have the will, they have the drive, they want to make it happen, but they might be with a partner that's not supportive. They might, you know, have to, you know, be there for their kids more, and they don't really have that balance. They don't have that support system. You know, what should they do?
And that's hard,
Yeah.
because that's a lot of people. That's the majority of people.
Yeah.
But also, too, you know, it's a lot that goes with that. So why are their partners not supportive? Is it because you start things and you don't see it through? Is it because you're going to create a financial setback for your household that they know they can't pick up the slack on? You know, it's a lot of different factors when you're looking at that sort of thing. So it's hard to say, do this, because all that backstory stuff matters.
Yeah.
You know, I have conversations with women all the time. It's my husband doesn't support this. Well, what did you do last time? Well, I started it, I spent all this money, and then, you know, the stuff's just still sitting in my garage. That's why he's not supporting it, because you didn't follow through the first time.
Yeah.
So, you know, I guess my advice would be, if you're gonna go for it and you have a partner that's not necessarily supportive, you gotta show them.
Yeah.
You gotta show them that you're committed. You have to show them that you have the work ethic. You have to show them that you can still handle home and take care of this as well. So you have to find your balance. You have to find the way to be that everything for everybody, so to speak. Continue what your roles have been in the past and bring this piece in too. So it might not mean that you can dedicate 8 hours a day to what you're forming. Maybe it's just 2 for you. But if your partner can see this is not gonna lack in order for you to bring this piece in, a lot of times they circle back around. It's like, okay, I can jump on his bag, or I can be supportive and see that you're serious.
And so if I hear you correctly, it's let's make sure or give them something to believe in.
Absolutely.
Right? Not just the thought, not just the idea, but actually give them something to
Actions.
believe in. Yeah.
They got to see it.
Right.
They have to see it. And I
Right.
think that's always a fear
Yeah.
when you're talking about being a woman
Yeah.
and being a mother, being a wife, and then you're like, I want to start this business.
Yeah.
Well, how are you going to start this business and have time to be my wife, have time to take care of our children?
Yeah.
You know, if you're that person that cooks all the time, I still want my dinner when I come home.
Right.
You know, how are you going to still do these things and bring this in?
Yeah.
And so that's where it takes some soul searching to say, all right, let me write down what my obligations look like.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, this is what he expects. This is what my children expect.
Right.
Let me write down these obligations look like, and then figure out how to add my business to the puzzle.
Yeah.
It's doable by all means,
Right, right.
but it takes planning.
Right.
People want to jump out there, jump off this ledge, and there's no planning that takes place beforehand. Nah, you got to plan this thing out.
Right,
you
right.
already got responsibilities, and then
Right.
you bring in a whole business.
Yeah.
You got to plan.
Yeah, yeah. And so, you know, now, you know, multi-million-dollar businesses, you know, you're at where you are. If you could give 18-year-old Halani some advice, what are you telling her?
I probably would have told her to believe in herself more. Believe and dream.
Yeah.
See, one thing about me, I'm such a realist. And so if I can't physically see it, to me, it's like, it's unattainable.
Yeah.
It has to make sense for me. And I've always been like that. Like, I never had this dream wedding I wanted. I never had this dream car. I was never a dreamer. Now I dream because I understand that dreaming is manifesting. Those manifestations become realities.
Absolutely.
But you got to start there first.
Yeah.
And so I would tell 18-year-old Halani, you should have dreamt more.
Yeah.
You really should have dreamt more.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. All right, finish the sentence for me. I am.
Powerful.
Love it. Love it. When it's all said and done, I will be.
Successful.
Anybody who crosses my path, I want them to know.
They are enough.
I love that. Expound on that for me.
Because I think that in the world of that we just live in now with social media and all, it makes people doubt themselves
Yeah.
that they're not where they should be based off of what they see.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of comparisons that go on, and you got to understand that your time is your time.
Yeah.
And where you are, be happy with where you are. Be happy with your circumstances. Be happy with the positive things that are going on in your life, and be happy with knowing that you are somebody.
Yeah.
You know, and not comparing and judging yourself based off of the things that you see.
Yeah.
You're worthy.
Yeah.
You're worth something.
Yeah.
You're enough.
Yeah, no, I love that. And the reason why I wanted you to expound on that, because I do, I agree 100%. I think that there are so many people comparing their chapter 5 to somebody's chapter 40 or chapter 7, and not realizing that you just need to run your own race. And somebody living their life does not add or take away from yours, right? And if you continue to run your life, you'll be fine. And so now that you're at this level of financial abundance, dispel a money myth for us, right? Because there's a lot of money myths, and like if you didn't come from a trust fund, if you were a trust fund baby, we heard all of the, money doesn't grow on trees. You got to work hard for money. Scared money don't make money. So talk to us about a money myth that you probably heard growing up, that now that you have this financial abundance, you're like, nah, that wasn't it.
That credit is bad.
Ooh, yeah.
You don't want credit cards, Halani. You
Yeah.
want to pay everything out of you want to pay everything cash. You don't want to owe anybody anything. Bull crap. There's a lot of positives that come with credit. You want to stay as liquid as possible, of course. And the points that you rack up when you utilize credit, the cash rewards, all of that is extra. And so this myth that we had, credit is all bad, and then you become an adult and you realize now you need credit. And you need credit cards, business credit cards and things of that nature to really fund and keep your business sustaining. It's a myth.
All right, love that. And so right now, right, there's a lot of uncertainty that's happening, right? So last year there was a lockdown, pandemic. A lot of people did well, but then a lot of people, didn't know what to do, right? And there's some uncertainty. And so right now there's an entrepreneur who's ready, like they no fear, they're ready to make it happen. But because of the uncertainty, they're trying to figure out how to make decisions during tough times. What advice would you have for that person?
So they're going to be tough times. They're going to come. They're going to come. You don't know when they're going to come. And so be poised. Panicking is not going to help solve the issue any faster.
Yeah.
So when you come upon a hard time, just go back to the basics. You can always go back to the basics and find a solution. Write out what the problem is. Write out what the possible solutions look like. And be prepared to try out many things until you figure it out. But the main thing is not quitting, not panicking, seeing your way through. There's solutions to every problem out here. There's always a solution.
Yeah.
The thing is, how far do you want to go to find that solution? And so just handle it with grace. Don't panic. Figure it out. It's all able to be solved. You know, but a lot of times you just go into a panic. It's like, oh my God. Let me tell you, I'll be real transparent with you. Like you said, last year, the pandemic, most people did great. I hate to say that. You feel guilty saying it, but business was good for most people. And then, like for me, being a new entrepreneur, now I'm understanding the slow season of retail, the things that people don't talk about. So I'm looking at things and I'm like, hold on. This money ain't coming in the same way it was last year this time, And so I just picked up the phone and I called my ads guy and I'm like, Leon, what's the slow season for retail? And he started laughing at me. And I'm like, I don't know, because last year was my first year in business. We're in a pandemic. It's different now. The world is pretty much open again. What's the slow season? He told me. And he said, what most people do, June, it slows down. Pick up at the beginning of July because you got July 4th sales. It slopes back off into the beginning of September, Labor Day sales. And then you can expect a decline all the way to Black Friday. And I'm like, well, shoot, why didn't anybody tell me this before? So long story short, it just made me have to revamp what I've been doing. You can't spend as much money now as you did last year this time because things are different. But just picking up that phone and saying, hey, explain to me how this works, help to solve that problem. So he said, all you gotta do is just scale back. Just scale back what you're spending right now and gear up for Black Friday. And that's what I did. Had I sat back and said, oh my God, there's not as much money coming in, what am I gonna do? You go into a frenzy, you go into a panic, everybody around you feels it, they're like, hold on, the business is falling apart. But you just, there's solutions to everything. Tap into your network of people, figure it out.
No, I love it. All right, let's switch a little bit, right? Because we always like to know from our guests like that, reach a level of financial abundance. What is the most extravagant thing that you've done with money so far?
All this ice I got on.
Yeah.
The jewelry.
Okay.
The jewelry.
Okay.
I love jewelry.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shoot, how much?
Yeah.
No problem. Run it.
Yeah, put it in the bag.
Right, put it in the bag.
Right.
So the jewelry.
Okay. And then on the opposite side of that, what would you say is the most impactful thing you've done with money?
The Kroger give back we did last year.
Yeah, that was big.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
That was amazing. And I went along literally to be supportive and found myself standing up there like, let's go,
Right.
swipe my
Right.
card
Yeah,
too,
yeah,
you know.
yeah,
And so that
yeah.
was just so fulfilling to know that you were, and to see the expression of the people, they were crying.
Yeah,
It literally
for sure.
was, I didn't know how I was going to get groceries this
Yeah,
month. I had
yeah.
$20 left.
Wow.
And to be able to say, get whatever you want.
Yeah. And for those who may not know what the Kroger give back was, what happened?
So it was a circle of CEOs, and they all went to Kroger. The wives, of course, we came along. We went to Kroger on Wesley Chapel and just pulled up and took care of everybody's groceries who were there.
Yeah.
And we were there, I think, about 2 hours,
Wow.
and we just took over the registers. You had Marcus, Alex, they were actually working the registers,
Right.
bagging the stuff, you know,
Yeah.
and we were just using our personal funds
Yeah.
to pay for the groceries of the people who came. And we were there for a good over 2 hours getting it done.
Wow.
And like I said, I want to be supportive.
Yeah.
And found myself moved by the spirit. And I was like, I'm swiping my card
Right,
too,
right,
you know,
right,
and it was
right.
just, it's amazing. Because to me, success is not measured by this material stuff. It's
Absolutely.
measured by what you can do to help others.
Absolutely.
And so to me, that really defined like, I've made it to
Yeah,
a whole different arena.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always a blessing to be able to be a blessing to others. So I love it. All right, so we're gonna do our speed round, right? Speed round, we take bank terms and then we flip them for us inside the vault. And so the first term we're gonna say is deposit slip. A deposit slip is a piece of paper, you fill it out, you put money inside the bank. For us inside the vault, a deposit slip is a money slip up, money mistake. So what is the biggest deposit slip that Halani has made so far in her journey?
Designer handbags, lots of them.
Yeah. Okay.
Just frivolous spending.
Yeah.
Saks.
Yeah.
Saks Fifth Avenue.
Yeah.
That's my deposit.
Yeah. All right. Second term, charge off. Right. A charge off. You borrow money from a bank. You don't pay it back. They try to chase after you. After a while, they're like, I'm charging this off. I'm getting rid of this. For us here inside the vault, what kind of people or mindsets did you have to charge off during your journey?
Oh, the competitive people.
Yeah.
The jealous people, the envious people, the people that genuinely don't want to see you win. They want you to stay your old self. And you transitioning to this new butterfly, so to speak. They're not here for it.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're surpassing them.
Yeah.
Although
Yeah.
you're making every way for them to come along the journey with you, but because it's not them, they have a problem with it.
Wow.
Yeah. Charged off.
Gotta go.
Gotta-
And how do you? That's a great one. But how do you deal, or do you deal with survivor's remorse? Like that space where you have those people, you making a way, you live in this abundant life, but for whatever reasons, like you can't get them to go. Like have you ever had survivor's remorse? And if so, how do you deal with that?
My thing, yes.
Yeah.
Because you always want to bring the people you love along with
Absolutely,
you,
yeah.
but you only can do so much. And I understand that. And it's like, I'm going to create a way for you, whether I give you a position or I give you literally, you can work right alongside me. We can split this thing 50-50.
Yeah.
But you have to be willing to put the work in.
Yeah.
You got to be willing to execute. If that's not you, you got to go.
Yeah.
I only can do, you have to be willing to see the vision too. You got to put the work in.
Yeah.
I only can carry you so far.
Yeah.
You got to pick up your legs and start walking at some point.
Yeah.
And so when you figure out that they're not trying to walk,
Right.
gotta go.
Right. And they not trying to walk, but some of them even try to poke holes in the boat.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
They want it
yeah.
to sink,
Yeah.
and that's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy to charge those off,
Right.
when you really see that they're being malicious. It's
sure.
like, no, we have no use for you.
Yeah.
But it is still hard because these are people who you've built connections with,
Yeah.
friendships, bonds. They're like family. Some of them are family
Yeah,
members.
yeah.
And, you find that they really wish ill upon
Yeah,
you
yeah.
just because of money.
Right.
Not understanding that, listen, when we win, everybody wins.
Absolutely,
Every
absolutely.
single person that's with us wins too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it can be very difficult, but at the same time, once it's identified,
Yeah.
out of here.
Yeah. All right. Love it. Last but not least, trust account, right? So the trust account is we take all your assets, your valuable assets, you put it in this trust account, you protect it, you help it grow. Who or what type of mindset would you say is in your trust account? What helps you grow?
That's a good one. That's a really good one. I would think just fulfilling myself to keep growing personally. Because I feel like if you're filling yourself with educational things, you know, what entertains you trains you. I didn't believe that at first.
That's a big bar.
It's a big.
Oh, that's a bar. I need you to look at the camera. Say that one more time. What?
What educate? I can't even say it anymore. What entertains you trains you, y'all.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand that initially. So I used to watch a lot of reality TV. Like that was my thing. Open my eyes in the morning. I'm turning on the TV. I'm going to my DVR. I'm watching the Housewives.
Right.
You know, and that's what I was filling my mind up with. And I remember Jason told me one day, he was like, you know, what entertains you trains you. I'm like, boy, hush.
Yeah.
Garbage. I got a strong mind. Yeah. You know, but then I understood, like, it really, really does. So now I want to listen to Les Brown. I'm listening to Sean Crocs in the morning take. I'm listening to that stuff every day. Yeah. And I understand that that's what's filling me up mentally to grow personally so that that trust fund is well padded. Yeah, absolutely. You know, and to me, that transcends into business. When you're personally growing, that all reaps over into your business.
No, I love it, love it. What's next for Mrs. 2 weeks out, Mrs. Halani Lobdell?
Well, you know, I started Bosch University, which is my mentorship. Nice. So I'm really excited about that. It's a 4-week program. We just wrapped up this past Sunday. And I'm excited because I'm giving people the tools that they need to be successful. The mistakes that I made, I'm like, let me help you not make these mistakes. I'm giving them access to my team of people that have helped me to get to where I am today. Nice. So I'm real excited about that. And just reaching back and just bringing some along with me. Yeah. So that's just really, really implementing that even more. I'm getting ready to write a second ebook. Hey. Yeah, and so, you know, on top of I'm revamping some things with Body Envy, it's a lot going on. Yes. But it's tapping into what I already have and just making it better.
No, I love it, love it. All right, y'all, the boss of the bosses, Mrs. 2 weeks out, Halani Lobdell. If people want to connect with you, they want to follow you, they want to tap in, where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram, Mrs. MRS 2 weeks out. On Facebook, I'm Halani Lobdell, and that's about it.
All right, y'all. Another powerful episode of Inside the Vault with Ash Cash. We are closing out the vault. Make sure you follow us on all social media platforms at Inside the Vault. Follow me, Ash Cash, at I am Ash Cash. And I'm going to see y'all next time on the greatest money mindset show on the planet. Same time, same place, in God's will. All right, y'all. Peace.
Oh, yeah. You want Ash Cash, you can catch it right here in the vault.